Oh, hey everybody, Dogbert here in DD4 this time with the Web Warriors featuring Scarlet Spider. Now that he's now available in the game. So, the team I took in, I actually did two variations. I did Symbiote Spider-Man, Shang-Chi, regular Spider-Man, Ghost Spider, and Scarlet Spider. For node 12, as you're going to see, I ran into some issues, and I replaced Shang-Chi with Anti-Venom for much better results. But this is for DD4. Going forward, I think for DD5, the team I previously mentioned would probably be a good starter team. They might not be the best team, but they probably will get you through it. And they have a low number of uniques. That's why I'm favoring that. So let's take a look at the characters I brought in. Like I said, I brought in my Anti-Venom, 6 red, 6 yellow, 3 level 3 blue ISO, Striker, all the T4s, gear 15, level 80. My Symbiote Spider-Man, he's sitting at level 80, gear 15 still, 5 red, 7 yellow, level 3 Skirmisher, blue ISO. The only T4 I don't have him in is his special, which I'm highly considering doing. Maybe somewhat soon. My Shang-Chi is a 5 red, 6 yellow, blue ISO level 3 Raider, gear 15, level 80, all the T4s except for his basic. Might end up doing that as well. My original Spider-Man, gear 15, level 80, blue ISO level 3 Skirmisher, 5 red, 7 yellow. Only T4 in him is his passive, that's really only the one you need. My Ghost Spider is quite big. I have a 5 red, 5 yellow right now. I did pull 7 red out of a basic orb, so I will eventually, when she becomes farmable, be able to have a 7 red. Level 3 blue ISO Raider on her. All the T4s except for her special. Didn't use Miles. And here's my Scarlet Spider. I pulled 5 red on him. 3 yellow, 3 red right now. I'm trying out Blue ISO Healer on him for Dark Dimension. Since right now, without Spider-Punk, there's no reason for the extra crit. Honestly, I'm not seeing a whole lot of damage out of him. Get some extra heal because he is the healer of the team. I only did one T4, and that was his passive. They get the extra dodge chance because obviously with Spider-Man, that's how this team gets their turn meter. And of course, extra 15% max health for himself and the other Web Warrior allies is great. You know, he has a really long passive, but nothing that really needs him to crit to do anything. Looking at his ultimate, it's just damage. Maybe if I get him higher and I see he's doing good damage, I'll put this T4 into him. But right now, the T4 is only just extra damage. I didn't see the value in it. His special prolonged the duration of 3 random negative effects, but it excludes ability block, stun, or trauma. So unless you're putting out a ton of like bleeds that you need to really extend a third instead of just 2, you're going to be extending the debuffs anyway. Between Symbiote Spider-Man, between him, between Ghost Spider, I mean, just don't see the value again. Last but not least, his basic, it's just extra damage to the attacks. Like I said, I haven't seen a whole lot out of him yet, maybe because I outload red stars, but we'll see. So let's go take a look at DD4 now. Alright, let's just jump right into node 12 since that's the one that is most important. The other two nodes are fairly easy and I was able to get through them no problem. However, as you're about to see here, node 12 has its own issues. Namely Captain Marvel one-shotting, using the assist of Ms. Marvel to take out Shang-Chi right off the bat. So this is what it looked like a lot for me as I kept trying to use this team. This went back in. Let's see if I can't speed this up. And once Shang-Chi leaves, Rocket decides to jump in. So let's just fast forward. This time I don't know why Ms. Marvel doesn't assist, but she didn't, and Shang-Chi actually lived. So, well, I was actually able to get an actual attempt in here. Try to decide who to do ability block. I tried to do Jessica Jones. Of course, she resisted. Just using Scarlet Spider. And Shang-Chi dies at the end. So this is pretty much the problems I kept running into, is just easy deaths here with this team. So let's just fast forward. See, I tried many times. Even once I got down to 4, I did try to see how the just 4 would do after Shang-Chi died. They did okay. Got rid of Star-Lord, but then eventually died. So what I eventually did do is I took out Shang-Chi and put Anti-Venom in for this node. Once I put Anti-Venom in, now Captain Marvel targeted OG Spider-Man back there. Kind of hard to tell the difference a little bit at a quick glance between him and Symbiote Spider-Man, thanks to that costume. But Anti-Venom gave me more survivability because of his heals, and he evades, of course, so he has a little bit more survivability than Shang-Chi in this respect for Node 12. Not saying that the other team I was using wouldn't be a good choice for Dark Dimension for a beginner, because you do have to think about resources here, and bringing in like a team like this would require 3 alien spores and two characters that use the Oz formula now. Whereas if you bring Shang-Chi in, he uses the molecular cough, so you have 2 characters that use alien spores, 2 that use Oz formula, 1 that uses molecular cough, and that is something you have to think about when you're going for DD5 after you go for DD4. I don't think one node, although a painful node, is really a reason to deviate for that from a new player. Now, if you're an older player and you already have symbiotes built, you by far use them. All 5 symbiotes can one-shot this node. The problem being, of course, that the symbiotes are on their way out as far as like rating and goes. And we do have to think about Dark Dimension 5 planning. Whereas this team, or that team with Shang-Chi, would be a lot easier to get into. They wouldn't be the best option. Probably the best option would probably still be all 5 symbiotes, but I don't know if you'd really want to build all of them to Gear 16, being that they are not going to be the Bio Raid team like the Web Warriors is. And you need Shang-Chi for the skill nodes. In Doom 2 right now, he is the 5th member of the skill team. He really helps them out with the Secret Avengers. So he's a character you're going to want to build anyway for Doom 2 through Doom 2.3 and probably eventually Doom 3 whenever it comes out. So you can see here we have lots of healing with Scarlet Spider and Symbiote Spider-Man. Every time they, depots get thrown out there, SSM heals every time a Web Warrior takes a turn. Scarlet Spider heals them. Symbiote Spider-Man is a little bit better healer because obviously he's giving it to everybody because they're all Spider-Verse heroes. And think about what it was. As you can see, I already got rid of Ms. Marvel. I do try to get ability block on Jessica Jones. Just cannot land it on her. This one is very tough. So this is a good alternate team for a new player if they already have Anti-Venom built, along with Symbiote Spider-Man. I don't think Miles would be a good replacement, or Spider-Punk, just because of what they lack. So problems with the Web Warriors, of course, they are mostly a raid team, and they are very good in raids, and they're acceptable in Dark Dimension. They are not the best. Symbiotes are obviously better, but you have to think about your resources, like I said before. The other thing nice about this is that you do get 2 stuns between OG Spider-Man and Symbiote Spider-Man. Overall, I gotta say I'm not too impressed with Scarlet Spider, although he does give the team more survivability. He doesn't put out as much damage as I thought he would do. That might be because of his low star level at the current time. The one that has really impressed me has been Ghost Spider, because of her constant pinging of whenever a web warrior gets attacked, whether the attack's successful or is dodged, she can do quite a bit of damage and she hits pretty hard. Miles actually hits pretty hard too, one I've seen in raids. However, his survivability is in question. I think Scarlet Spider is going to help him in raids with the survivability issue. I know I've had that issue with him. And of course, OG Spider-Man is just great. So issue with the Web Warriors is they're so reliant upon the dodges to survive. If they do get hit, they don't have a whole lot of hit points, relatively speaking, to recover. So they can get one shot at easy if somebody gets through it, has enough damage. However, if they survive, Scarlet Spider could heal them back up if you're running Super Spider-Man. The only other problem, of course, there is no res for them. So once a character is down, they're down. As you can see here, I took care of the first wave, no problem. No real issues. I do get into the second wave here. This is where the lack of control that they really have really starts to show. They don't have. I don't have turn meter rewind because I don't have miles. Do have a stun though. Do have an ability block, but they had the lack of the ability to really put a whole lot of debuffs out there because there's really nobody who applies bleeds on this team, on the Web Warriors. So if you're using this team, the only bleeds you're getting are for Symbiote Spider-Man and Anti-Venom. So that kind of confused me a little bit, because even in raids, if you had the full team, you don't really get bleeds to spread out, so how many debuffs are you really spreading out, which is making me think that not putting T4s into Scarlet Spider is definitely the right move. Because how many debuffs are you really prolonging? How long should characters be alive that you need to, have, these massive stacks of slow on them? Shouldn't the characters be dead by then? So as you can see, I'm doing okay with this. I want to get Rescue down because she can cleanse debuffs, but we do have her ability blocked. X23 can just wreck us. Trying to keep that Shield Trooper under control, because we eventually do get forced to go after that Shield Security because of his taunt. Overall, I gotta say that using Anti-Venom here was a better choice, but this, like I said, is just one node in one dark dimension. I think with Shang-Chi, it would be acceptable and you get through this node. It might just take you a couple more attacks. Okay, rescue's gone. Alright, working on X23. I am quite impressed with this where he worked to Spider-Man, and him getting that extra drain does definitely help on that special of his, and of course his passive being good and speeding him up. He seems to have a lot of survivability with all his dodging. He's more like AI Spider-Man now. But watching and actually playing through this now, I'm starting to think that Skirmisher might have been a better move on Scarlet Spider, at least for Dark Dimensions, just to remove debuffs a little bit easier. I know that's one of the problems I always wish Ghost Spider had the debuff removal, but she does not. I mean, buff removal, sorry. Because whenever I hit somebody like that, I always wish that she took away the taunt. And there again, I would wish that Scarlet Spider took away that taunt. Finally get rid of the taunt. You can see the amount of damage Ghost Spider does with her ultimate. And plus putting those debuffs out there, which makes SSM heals. That's why I love Skirmisher on regular Spider-Man. Get rid of that taunt. I love Skirmisher just in general. As you can see now we got the drop. We got Emma in there. Venom's gone. Got rid of X-23. Sorry about that. I have a dog with me. He hit my microphone. At this point I could see that I was probably not going to survive, so I just should take whatever I could out. Just want to get rid of that Iron Man. That Iron Man can actually do quite a bit of damage and can take somebody out with his ultimate. There we go, as we lose OG Spider-Man. That's the beginning of the end. But for a first time through, did pretty well, got up to the Emma. It would probably take a couple more attempts to get through this node, but it would be acceptable for a new player to take a few attempts to get through this node. You can't be expected to do one-shot a node this difficult on your first time through. So I hope this video was informative for you and gives you an idea about the Web Warriors with Scarlet Spider now in the game. Until next time.